Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be reviewing the first season of Peacemaker, the show. So this takes place right after the movie The Suicide Squad, which I'm currently watching with my mom, but Crave wasn't working so great this morning, so we're gonna try to finish it later, and I might see if Netflix is working, or I might just go on YouTube and chill for a bit, and then eat some food and go to bed because yeah, it's I've got so much stuff to do this weekend. It just seems crazy, but yeah, I'm slowly getting caught up with what I want to watch, and I think I gotta rewatch The Boys here soon as well. So I'm gonna get on that once I actually go back and rewatch Prey because it just came out this morning. But I think I need to give it another watch either sometime later tonight or possibly tomorrow. We'll see. Um, but yeah, What was I saying here? Oh yeah, so Peacemaker, obviously today's review. So there's my little ramble in the intro. So yeah, what I was saying is it happens right after he has his encounter with Bloodsport where he ends up getting shot near the end of the movie. And I guess he's in the hospital in recovery, obviously. And he's still obviously, well, he thinks he's free, but then this other team that is sent by Amanda Waller, uh, obviously, obviously apprehends him and brings him back into, um, kind of brings him back into like a new mission. But in this case, it's not called Project Starfish like in the first film. It's called Project Butterfly. So all these people, um, I don't really want to call them like an alien race, but I guess they are technically aliens. Um, yeah, I guess they were aliens in the end of it all. Yeah, okay, because they did come from outer space, so they were extraterrestrials. So there you go. And when they came from their planet, they brought this creature along with them called the cow that produces this fluid that they take in order to sustain their life, I guess. Because otherwise, I guess they would just eventually die off without having this. It's like a honey like substance almost. It's kind of weird, kind of hard to describe. Um, how they are, like how the little creature takes over the human body and has to kind of learn in its own way, like human mannerisms and all that sort of thing. So it is very interesting how how they incorporated that into the show. And obviously, John Cena, Peacemaker, is the star of the show. And then we have Danielle Brooks playing Leota Adebayo, I believe was what they usually called her. And then we had Freddie Stroma playing Adrian Chase in Vigilante. Uh, Chidukwe, I'm gonna say Awuji maybe, playing Clemson Mern or Ike Nob Locke, which was his butterfly name. So yeah, very interesting how they named the butterflies. And then Jennifer Holland played Amelia Harcourt, and Steve Agee played John Economos. And then Peacemaker's father, or his real name, Christopher Smith, uh, Robert Patrick played Augie Smith, or the White Dragon. So, yeah, he had a very interesting upbringing. And then the two cops in the movie were Annie Chang, Detective Sophie Song, and then Lachlan Monroe played Detective Larry Fitzgibbon. And I know I've seen him in a lot of other stuff, so yeah, very interesting. And then I guess, what's her name? Oh God, Leota's wife was Kiki Adebayo, played by Elizabeth Faith Ludlow, but she wasn't really a main character in the show. And then obviously um, when when John ends up um, framing Peacemaker's dad for, I guess, what was it, stealing the car, or oh, I guess it was actually murdering the girl that Peacemaker actually ended up having to kill because she had a butterfly inside of her. So she ends up just attacking him after they had sex, because he was just looking for a hookup because he'd obviously been in jail for 4 years, so he was looking for somebody to have not a relationship with, but just a fun time with, right? So he ends up meeting this girl at the bar after he tries to get with Harcourt, and that doesn't work because obviously she's not interested in him in the beginning of the show, but they kind of see her kind of come around him a little bit. And then at the very last episode, he'd obviously stayed in the hospital after she got injured when they went to the farm, I guess, where they were keeping the cow, and he ends up killing the cow, and it was just a whole big mess. But yeah, this show is just absolutely epic, and I gave it a well, I guess I shouldn't say my rating yet because I have a lot more to talk about. But yeah, so I guess Vigilante thinks that he's his best friend, and then obviously Adebayo ends up betraying Peacemaker, and she thinks that he trusted her the most out of the entire group. And it kind of seems like they're not really giving him all the information. And then obviously there's a lot of like double crossing in this show because um, nobody else except for Myrn knows who Adebayo already was. So um, obviously when John and Harcourt find out about it, they're like, "Oh my God, seriously? Like, how? What kind of dysfunctional team are we even running here? Like, you got to be kidding me that Adebayo is Amanda Waller's daughter." So yeah, quite a twist there for obviously the group, but I think they still kind of end up just staying together. And Vigilante was probably my favorite. Besides, obviously, Peacemaker was probably my favorite character in the show, just because he's absolutely just has no morals and just will kill anybody. And when Peacemaker can't pull the trigger on the family of butterflies at the beginning, he just says, "Hey, buddy, step aside," and just takes them all out, except for the dad. The dad escapes for a little while and then does some tortures, tortures, uh, tortures Vigilante, and yeah, Peacemaker won't give up the information. He doesn't care if Vigilante dies, right? So it doesn't really matter to him, which was kind of funny. But yeah, Vigilante ends up being a big part of the team, and I think that without him, they wouldn't have probably been able to take down the farm at the end and take down the cow, obviously. But he does it with the help of Adebayo, obviously, because he uses the helmet that turns you into a human torpedo, and it flies her right into the cow and then kills it. So that was a pretty crazy scene. And I wouldn't even really call it a cow. It looked more like a... I know they called it the cow, obviously, because it was the creature that produced the stuff that they were able to drink. But yeah, the one butterfly that was the main butterfly kept it going in and out of people all the time. Um, it was in the father in the beginning of the show, and then it went into the detective, the female detective, and then she ends up bringing like all of the other butterflies with her to the yeah. So it ended up going into Sophie, and she ends up bringing all the other butterflies with her and kind of recruits all of the other cops and also the inmates to be butterflies with her. So now she has like her own army, and yeah, they were definitely not easy to take down. And I thought Harcourt was honestly going to die at the end of the show when she got shot. I was like, really? They're going to kill her off right at the end when they're kind of finally like getting along, her and Peacemaker? But I guess, yeah, she didn't end up dying. And then at the end, when he stays there for a few days, you can tell that she's starting to slowly come around to him, and I think she's falling in love with him a little bit. And I think it kind of showed that he felt the same way when he first laid eyes on her in the, I guess when they were first becoming a team, really. Um, so yeah, I think obviously finding out that another big twist in the show, finding out that Myrn was a butterfly was quite shocking for Adebayo when she uses the helmet that can what was it, X-ray vision. So when they break into the one compound, when they're trying to find the uh, stuff that the um, oh my God, they break into the one compound and they're trying to find the stuff that the butterflies are taking. Right. Uh, he's using X-ray vision, so he just ends up shooting all of them. And Adebayo goes, "What are you doing?" Like, oh my God, like, little warning would have been nice. And he goes, "My warning was shooting off her head." So he already knew that they were all butterflies before she did. So then he makes this makeshift bomb out of like I think it was like a grenade and an actual like missile, and it blows up a huge part of the plant. And then this giant mutated gorilla attacks them, and uh, it ends up being it ends up actually being John that ends up coming in and saving them and just absolutely like ripping the thing apart with the chainsaw. And then Vigilante goes, you know what would have been cooler if he had thrown me the chainsaw and I had killed the if I had killed the gorilla, because I just said how badly I wanted to kill something with the chainsaw, and he tried to bring it in before they went into the compound, but they said we didn't even know if any butterflies were there, so they weren't sure whether they should do that or not. But it ended up, yeah, that there were butterflies there, and they probably should have just let him have the chainsaw and take it in. But I'm not really sure if Vigilante has like a quick healing factor, because he seemed to heal pretty quickly throughout the show. So I'm kind of thinking he has some sort of healing factor, because when Peacemaker's dad finally gets into the White Dragon suit again after he's able to after he's free from jail once again, um, yeah, Vigilante drops a grenade right in front of him, and it doesn't blow him up, but it hurts Vigilante, but it doesn't kill him. So he must have some sort of healing factor, I'm assuming. And another thing was that Peacemaker killed his brother when he was younger, because their father obviously trained them to fight and kill, so I guess he kind of pitted them against one another, and then uh, ended up calling Peacemaker an idiot for killing his brother, even though it was his own fault for making the two brothers fight, like telling them to hit one another and all that sort of stuff. So I don't really know how he could blame anybody but himself for what had happened, because they were just kids. They didn't know what they were doing. They thought they were just having a normal fun time, and meanwhile they're actually like literally trying to beat the snot right out of one another, and one of them ends up just throwing a powerful punch and killing the other one, which kind of sucks. But yeah, there was a lot of other like secondary characters that were good in this show too, because one of them was what's his name? Christopher Heiderall played Captain Casper Locke, who comes in and takes over for the other captain, and he's working with he is working on the inside with Myrn, right? I can never remember their names. There's so many names to remember. He's working on the inside with Myrn, obviously, until he gets taken over by the Butterfly, and then he comes after, coming after Peacemaker, because Adebayo planted a diary there that gives away a whole bunch of information, and then obviously when Peacemaker finds out, he doesn't trust Adebayo anymore, which he shouldn't have done, because she should have just, she was just breaching like his trust or whatever, and I guess he doesn't trust a lot of people, so he trusted her and she let him down. So that was unfortunate for a couple episodes, but I guess they kind of made up, and then she was able to see the eagle actually hug him, because Peacemaker's pet is an eagle called Eagly. I know that's not very creative, but it just makes sense for the show. And one thing I wanted to touch on is, honestly, this show has the best superhero intro to a show I've ever seen, where they do the dance. And I'm going to have to learn all the moves, because, yeah, it's just, oh my God, this show's just great. And James Gunn is a really good director when it comes to this kind of stuff, and he really knows how to put the humor into it, but not overdo it, and also add a lot of action and gore and stuff that I think should be in action movies and TV shows. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to whenever season 2 is going to come out, because I'm not really sure whether it'll be This year or next year? Yeah, I guess we'll see. I would probably guess it would take, with the production quality of this show, I would imagine it probably would take about 2 years to film another season. And I think it did just come out earlier this year. Oh, and also, when the Justice League lands and he just absolutely rips into them all, that was pretty epic. So, yeah. Maybe that's a little bit of foreshadowing as to possibly Peacemaker joining the Justice League at one point, or at least maybe working with them. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll see what season 2 entails, and hopefully it's as good as this season. I can't imagine it not being. Maybe even a little bit better. I just don't know what they're going to be fighting in the second season, so I guess we'll see. And I guess another thing I could touch on, obviously, was that Peacemaker, or Christopher, was his real name, right? Was actually able to finally part ways with his father, but he had to do it in the worst way possible by killing him. But I think it was kind of important for his character development, and obviously to get away from his father. That was going to be the only way, because obviously his dad was just going to keep hunting him down until he had killed him. So it was either down to Chris or his father. So pick one. And his father wasn't necessarily the best person in the world, because obviously he was a white supremacist that dressed up as a hero to kind of justify what he was doing, but it was obviously wrong. So I think that was probably one of the better moments in the show, when he finally just sucked it up and just shot him. Because yeah, how could he ever get away if he hadn't have done that, right? So yeah, I think that's actually it for this review. I gave the show a 10 out of 10. I thought it was just as good as the Suicide Squad movie, which I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know I gave that a 10 out of 10 too. Now that I'm thinking about what I actually rated it. So yeah, I know I gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't even have to go back and look. I just can't remember what I gave the Harley Quinn movie. Might have to go back and rewatch that video, but anyway, yeah, I definitely give that one a 10 out of 10 for sure. And I guess I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now.